Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe in Lagos. Austin, I think I can hear you if you can unmute yourself.
Sporty greetings to you, Cecilia, and of course, everyone joining us from different parts of the world. In London, I'm Austin Okonakwan.
All right, this is obviously going to be a loaded package tonight because we'll be talking basketball. Yes, the league has not started, but we'll be talking about how former players are trying as much as possible to ensure that the teams are busy in preparing for, well, when the league will start. We don't know that, but then players are busy. They are in action, especially Coral Falcons that will be representing Nigeria at the Basketball African League, of course, sponsored by the NBA. Also, we'll talk about the Women's League. Yes, after 2 weeks break, they're back, and on Wednesday we have games across the countries that we'll be playing. Remember the first stanza was about 90 goals that were scored in 42 games. So how many goals are we expecting once the second stanza starts? We'll talk more about that on the program. Samuel Malmedu will be joining us to talk more about the Women's League. Yes, when we're talking Women's League, Samuel will be right there. And Austin, of course, is going to tell us more about what's happening to Manchester City. I mean, the financial fair play, EPL are on it on them. Yes, they were able to escape that of UEFA simply because they said when you backdate it, it's not part of the rule. But hey, EPL doesn't have that rule that is telling that you can't dig as much as far back as 10 years. You can go as far as you can to dig deep concerning financial fair play, the irregularities that they had, of course, so many things that they had to hide. Sponsorship deals and all. Austin, of course, you have a few days to talk more about that. Will Man City be thrown out of the league? Because part of the punishment is they could be thrown out of the league. Points deduction this season. There's so many, I mean, so much that they will be facing.
Yeah, Cecilia, not just thrown out of the league or docked some points. They might also be stripped of the league titles that they won.
They won 3 at the period under review, right? Okay, we'll talk more about that on the program. Also, MPFL will get our attention as Nigeria Professional Football League. It's been a tough one for all the teams that are playing right now. Benin Insurance that were unbeaten have kind of a winning run is already over because Gombe United had to ensure that they put a halt to that. And also Rivers United, their unbeaten streak is also over. They were beaten, well, in Gombe by Doman FC. When you look at the name, you're like, okay, where's Doman? But then they were the teams that had to ensure that Rivers United, they've lost a game this season. And if you look at that table, Lobby Stars have taken over. Also, we'll touch down on the Premier League where Manchester United and Leeds United will be in action on Wednesday. Remember, they don't have a coach right now because their former coach has been fired. So much on the program tonight, Austin. We'll start with basketball, of course.
That's right. Let's go, Cecilia. Action-packed world of sports. So much going on. And just listening to you talk about some of the things that we will be discussing on the show tonight. It's not just me. I'm sure our viewers are pumped up. So if you can play some basketball, let's go.
So let's do that. Talking about the elite basketball currently going on in Lagos. And what are they trying to do? They're trying as much as possible to ensure that players are busy. When former players come together, they try to ensure that the elite basketball, they're in action. That's why Luis Edem, former player, plays for he played for so many teams, before he retired from basketball. Also, he played for the Tigers. Luis Edem decided to have a basketball championships that started on Monday. And of course, you have teams like Gidi Giants, owned by Olumide Oyedeji. Spinters Knights of Ghana, also part of the teams participating. Ebon Comments, also the Unilag, is also a part of the team. Rivers Hoopers, former champions, are also the Coral Falcons, of course, that will be representing Nigeria at the Basketball African League. They're also part of it. They are actually in Group A. You also have Lagos Legends, Police Baton, Raptors, and Ogun Warlords. These are the teams that will be taking part in this basketball championship. Of course, it's for these teams to actually prepare for themselves for the upcoming league season. We don't have a specific date for that, but we're anticipating and hoping that this will start very soon. Let's take a listen to the players, especially Coral Falcons players that are using this as an opportunity to get themselves ready for the Basketball African League, and also to the organizer why he had to put up something like this for these teams to play basketball and, of course, earn a living for themselves, because this will not go without, winners with cash.
Kind of form of training to get better, like we're getting to know ourselves. Like this, we are able to test what we can do and what we needed to do more. Every player we evaluate what he needed to do, and we believe by the next match we are going to play better. And the coaches too, we know how to go about things and to make us a better team. I feel this kind of audition is good for us to know what we were going to do and what we are going to do to represent Nigeria well.
Definitely we're getting a lot, especially on the hustling. You know, the team actually out-hustled us. They got a lot of offensive rebound, and there's no how you play against any team that you have like 3, 4, 5 attempts to the basket. You understand? It's going to be difficult to win, and this gives us a lot that okay, we are a little bit deficient in that. We are going to work on that.
It's all about coming out here, to compete, get basketball going. I'm not happy that there's no league. So when I'm out there, I'm always thinking about these people, because I used to be like them. I used to play in Nigeria. So, doing this championship is to also inspire them. When they become successful, hopefully, they can also go back to their communities and give back too. If everybody that's out there that have gained something from playing basketball in Nigeria, if we can all come together and do this type of championships, we don't even need to have a basketball league. If we have this type of championships, every 3 months, and these players are active, they're not out there, doing no good, they're able to come to the court because they need to compete. They need to play. So if all of us can come together and organize this type of championship, it's going to help our basketball grow.
Yeah, obviously, it's going to help our basketball grow in Nigeria. That's what Luis Edem is talking about. Yes, it's not just me and Austin that in the studio. Kende Idris is also here. And of course, we're talking basketball right now before we go over to the Women's League. Kende, it's good to have you. Good evening.
It's good to be here, Cecilia. Always good to, talk about the feminine angle whenever you're on air. There is this light in your face whenever you discuss that. But they've given us a lot of joy, and it's good. But you're talking basketball now. And there's been the argument over the years, after football, what sport takes second? I guess basketball and athletics have always dragged that. At a point, it's boxing and all of that. But basketball today seems like the second. And we should do everything possible to continue to expose the players. They are the main gladiators. They should be getting playing time. Like Francis Obi, president of badminton, said some time ago, the reason why there is age cheat and all of this plenty problem in our sports is the fact that different set of age grade of professionals don't have ready competitions for them to compete in. So anyone that is available, you find everybody rushing on it.
Yeah.
So if there is another 13 competition going on and there is no under 15, under 17, under 18, under 20, people would want to play and just, continue to expose what they can do, and they will register for that. But when there is cut across competition, everybody will do so well. And this that you're saying, you don't have to go anywhere as an elite basketball player right here. Register for this. Continue to put yourself in shape with this. And like you said, it doesn't even go without, something for you to take home. So look at all of those teams like Rivers Hoopers, Kwara Falcons. Maybe topping it is Kwara Falcons because they'll be representing us. And they need to put themselves in that tournament mode. You put yourself in tournament mode, you put yourself in competitive game mode. When BAL starts, you're already in that space where you just want to compete. But if you're not playing games like this, you just can go and play the BAL. It's a whole lot of worry. So well done to Luis and well done to all the teams that participated. No matter how low this looks, you're playing basketball against basketballers. So one way or the other, is either you learn from it or you triumph and also take something away. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it is a win-win. Austin Ekpeyong talked about the fact that Luis, he said when he started this, it was just 8 teams that indicated interest. But then before you know it, it becomes a 10. And because players, teams are ready. They want to play basketball. The league may not be on, but then any opportunity they have, these teams just want to play.
That's it. That's what Kende just talked about, referencing Francis Obi. No competitions, and we have so much talent in Nigeria, no way to get busy. That's why we need to do more of this. And I totally agree with Luis Edem. He said if we have more of this sort of competition going on, then we probably don't even need a league. Because at every level, talents will be busy. The coaches will be busy. The federation will even say to themselves, shame upon us for not doing something like this, And then we use that as a process, towards getting talent for the national teams. So we just need more ex-internationals to get passionate about, supporting at the grassroots, thinking about development of basketball in Nigeria and just give back. And I totally agree. See Olumide Oyedeji, for instance, he has been doing the Olumide Oyedeji clinic forever. I mean, ever. And he's been consistent with it. But we also have basketballers who played basketball before Olumide Oyedeji. What are they doing? You don't necessarily need to do a competition, but be part of the building process. I keep saying it that we focus too much on competitions. There are other things you can do to empower a young talent so he can, be rest assured that he's got a good future to play, to play sports. Even when he can't play basketball, he can think about becoming an umpire. He can think about becoming a coach. He can think about even becoming a trainer for young persons to get into the sport. So shout out to Louis Edem and his team. And we just want to use this opportunity to tell more ex-internationals to get into what they're doing, and let's do more.
Yeah, we really need to do more to keep the game going and also growing, and hopefully that the league will start soon. The players will also, have something to look forward to every season, and not just the seasonal ones that we are having with former players that are coming to actually help to promote the game. All right, we'll talk about the Nigerian Women's Professional Football League Premiership now. Samuel, when he's ready, he will join us from Abuja. But then there are games for this weekend, this midweek, starting Wednesday. Games are played every Wednesday in the Nigerian Women's Professional Football League Premiership, of course, in Group A. That's where you have a whole lot of games going, just 6 games this midweek. I'll start with Group A, where we have the Delta Queens and also Bayelsa Queens. If we have that on the screen, we'll talk about that shortly. We have Delta Queens and Bayelsa Queens. They will be in action. You also have Oshun Babes and Heartland Queens will also be in action. That's in Group A. And Rivers Angels and Royal Queens will also be in action. That's talking about the Nigerian Women's Football League Premiership. Then you're going to be having other teams, for instance, in Group B, where you have Abia Angels. And of course, Abia Angels will be in action in Group B. Nasarawa Amazons will also be another team that will be in action playing against each other. For Adamawa Queens and FC Robo Queens. FC Robo Queens haven't had a fantastic season, but Confluence Queens and Ibom Angels will also be in action. That's in Group B. If we go back to Group A, again, the big game for this week is definitely Delta Queens and Bayelsa Queens. That's a derby for Delta Queens. They're yet to lose a game this season. That's the only team remaining that are yet to lose a game. 5 wins and just 1 draw. For Oshun Babes and, of course, Heartland Queens will be another game to look forward to. Rivers Angels and Royal Queens. Rivers Angels not have the best this season, but then they will also be in action this week. As I mentioned earlier, beginning of the show, talked about the fact they have 90 goals that were scored in 42 games. But we are entering the second stanza, and of course, it's all about the Super Six. The fight for it, the teams that will be able to make it up. Maybe Rivers Angels might decide to leave that their 3rd position. That's where they are right now. But Delta Queens are topping the group. Of course, Edo Queens also topping their own group. They will not be in action until next week on the 15th. That's when they will be in action against Nasarawa Amazons. That's why you're having 6 games this Wednesday. Let me quickly come to you, Idris. You follow the Women's League. You've been asking me, how is their Twitter handle? But then they're back. They finally, were able to get back their verified handle. So if you want to know so much about the Women's League, you can actually go to their handle. They're doing a whole lot to try and promote the game on their handle. There are some teams who decide to, take theirs, put it on stream, stream live. For instance, Edo Queens, you can actually watch their game. They stream live most of their games. Also have their own YouTube channel, so you can also go there and watch some of these games. But then this midweek, games, Bayelsa Queens and Delta Queens, I believe that's what is going to get you talking.
Exactly, exactly. It doesn't come bigger than this. Probably if it were to be some 2-3 years ago, maybe Rivers Angels had to play Robo Queens. That might just be, the big game. Yeah. But Delta Queens and Bayelsa, we still remember what they did last season. Somehow, I still wish them a whole lot of good for them to return to the continent again. Let's have teams gathering the experience. Fail, and then you become a conqueror at that level. But for Delta Queens, they are showing every sign that they want to be there. Although they've always knocked on this door. They're always falling short, behind Rivers, Bayelsa, Nasarawa, Robo Queens, and all of that. But they've always been one of those teams you'll find a way to talk about because of, their goods in the course of the season. So this game has every shade of being a fantastic game. But I'm also worried that Bayelsa have not been fantastic this season. So Delta might just roll over them. As much as we're reminded that whenever two big teams are to play themselves, forget the form. That game will be a massive game, and I think that's what happened with this. For other games, I'm looking at Rivers Angels versus Royal Queens. Rivers Angels also not having a good season. I don't know where, the tweak can come, but this is the second half. Maybe this is the time they will show us why they are, special angels in that setting. Over Royal Queens, I think they should be able to do it. Oshun Babes versus Atland. Okay, one of those games that we just have our eyes on. And then if we go to Group B, Abia Angels, Nasarawa Amazon, another good side. But Abia Angels, I doubt if Nasarawa can muscle their way through to get all 3 points. My darling Robo Queens.
Not a good season.
I'm a Lagos person through and through. So pardon me if I call Robo Queens darling. They've also produced darlings for us. The likes of Azizat, you can mention Rashida, also Esther Yenezide, Gift Monday. So it's our own darling club in Nigeria. They've done so well. Adamawa Queens against Robo Queens. I think that's one game, that would also get my attention. Because Adamawa are one of those teams where you say, no matter how big you are, if you don't come with your hay game on the day, they will shock you. And I think they are going to shock Robo Queens. Robo Queens, sorry I'm saying this,
offense,
but it looks like that. So Confluence Queens versus Edem Angels. I think I'll give this to Edem Angels. As much as I've got decent respect for Confluence Queen, I think I'll give it to Edem Angels.
All right, Samuel Amedo is ready to join us now from Abuja to take us through the game preview of the games that are taking place on Wednesday night across the country, where you're going to be having the Delta Queens and Bayelsa Queens. Of course, that's the biggest game for this midweek. Sam, it's good to have you. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Cecilia. Great pleasure to be part of the program this evening.
All right, the first stanza of the league, of course, ended, we didn't have any rancor or anything. It was just smooth. I mean, goals are scored, 42 games played, no walkover, everything was successful. And now we are starting with the second stanza. What are you expecting? What are the teams that we need to look forward to? And those teams who perform poorly in the first stanza, what can they do to rediscover their form and, of course, get into the Super Six, because that's what everyone is fighting for?
Yeah, for me, I think it's definitely going to be a fight for all. Every team are really keen to really be at the Super Six, and evidently you can't achieve that if you don't also build from home. And building from home has to do with you also bolstering your squad, and I think bringing in quality legs, bringing in experienced players who could possibly add to the depth and quality of the team. So I think these are major factors that we must be conscious about. So for teams that are really doing a bit well in the transfer markets, bringing in new players and also seeing how best these quality legs could also add value instantly to their squad. These are key moments. These are key issues we need to look at. And I think for teams I'm looking at to see is probably seeing how much teams like Robo Queens has possibly regalvanized themselves. They had a slow start, but definitely Robo Queens on a good day since they got promoted to the top flight in 2015. They've never looked back. So it's just maybe a poor start for them, and we can't wait to see the second round with the quality players they do have in their kitty. Definitely, there will be one team we expect to see the best of in the second round, and especially not ignoring how they finished so strongly in the league season. Again, you need to look at teams like Edem Queens. They're already blustering their squad ahead of the second round, and impressively, they've managed to add in some quality players, and when you mean business, definitely you have to prove that through the books and ensuring that you bring the best of the legs across the country. And for them to have captured one of the best coach in the league, that's the former title winner with Bayelsa Queens. Definitely, they are looking to really raise the stakes here and ensuring that they bring in quite a lot of new legs. And I think from what I'm hearing from the camp of Edem Queens, despite they finished the first round on top, they've possibly added some very quality legs ahead of the second round. So we've seen teams like Delta to definitely be keen to consolidate on their beautiful starts. And I think definitely they know it's not Hulu yet for Tosan Blackson. So no doubt they are looking to really bring in some new legs and possibly show how best they can go all the way beginning against Bayelsa Queens on Wednesday. So I think it's really going to be interesting to see. Heartland Queens, these are some of the great teams we've seen in the first round, and definitely they will really be keen to prove a point in the second round. Not leaving out Niger Ratels. They were in the Super 6 last year on their first attempt in the Premier League, and surprising how they got to qualify against all, and they left it all late, peeping Conference Queens to that third spot, to book their place in the Super 6 last year. So definitely, I know for this year, it's definitely going to go to the wire. You're seeing the stats we had for the first round. It's incredible. 90 goals scored across 42 games, 11 away wins, 7 draws, 24 home wins in 42 games. This is incredible. We have 56 different scorers in 42 games. This is incredible. And 2 players on 5 goals each. And you also have players from low profile sides like Niger Ratels, Agama, scoring 4 goals in 6 games. This is a fantastic form we've seen. I think it speaks volume about the potentials we have in the Nigerian Women's Football League Premiership, and definitely tells us we can't wait to see more in the second round.
All right, we need to take a time out. Sam, we'll get back to you after this. All right, let's go to London. I believe Austin has some questions for Samuel concerning the Women's Football League Premiership that is starting on Wednesday. That's the second stanza of the season. Austin?
Good to have you on the show, Samuel. I was going to say women's lover, Samuel. I said women's football lover, advocate, enthusiast. Samuel, good to have you join us on the show. Let's talk about Rivers Angels and what they're going through at the moment. 6 matches, just 2 wins. What's going on with Rivers Angels, and do you think they can pull it through to make it to the Super 6?
Well, I think for every team, anything is possible. And, taken from the words of Moses Praise, famous Moses Praise, his famous words, Yala, anybody can be beaten, It's a disappointing start for Rivers Angels, no doubt. A forgettable season, forgettable first round, if you ask me, because definitely everybody has high expectations over this team, but unfortunately, something somewhere is just not clicking. And at this point, it's obviously needs to probably look beyond just the quality of players they're signing. I think a whole lot has to do with the mix, has to do with the utilization of some of these talents in their kits. At least for the last time I checked, Rivers Angels currently has the only player who will be involved in the revelation squad for the Super Falcons, and they've always been part of the national team, regardless of who is in charge of the Super Falcons of the senior national team. So I think they have players in their team, and they just definitely has those players that really could bring results. But unfortunately, I feel technically they seem to have been short. I think they seem not to have really come close to how best they could. And it's just been happening over the year. We saw how poor they were at the CAF Champions League. And again, coming from that and also coming into the Super 6, they came a bit short of themselves at the Super 6. And now we are seeing this. I think the slope, the crash is really becoming a bit unfriendly. And I think it's not a slope. It's not just a trajectory everyone did expect of Rivers. I think probably they need to be facing a lot of internal issues, which definitely we want hope they can resolve before the second round, and at least get themselves back on track, and at least hopefully we can see them in the Super 6. But as it is, it's really a very tight one. We see teams bringing out their neck and seeing how best some of these teams are really holding them, Heartland, Royal, holding them to a draw, shows that yes, now the jungle has matured. And
it just goes to show that they are the team to beat, and for us, it means the Women's Football League is competitive. Thank you so much, Samuel, for your time on the show tonight, and good job you're doing. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. That's it. Women's football enthusiast Samuel Amadu speaking to us from Abuja. Kende Idris, let's just have you wrap this up before Cecilia takes it. Niger Ratels, they were new to the league last season. They made it to the Super 6. You think they can pull something? Give us another surprise this season.
I think they can. It's a team that has shown decency from last season. We all love underdog story one way or the other. but they went past the whole underdog story. At first, it started with they would get few wins and all of that were enjoyed, but they became a force to reckon with. And then their coach went ahead to even do so well with the national team, one of our national teams right there. So I think is a team that is well thought of, well set up, and they enacted themselves so well. And this time, I think they will go on with that. It seemed like they found a way to stabilize themselves in here, compete with the big girls, and, just stay in there. See, when you talk decency, I think this is just the proper way to define decency. Not like I'm here to win the league, from last season or this season, but I'll definitely be one of those teams. Either make it into the, top 6, Super 6, or I will be there as one of the teams that should be talked about.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it is. Talking about the Nigeria Women's Football League Premiership games will resume on Wednesday. 6 games will start the Wednesday, 4 p.m. That's when the games are usually played, of course, across different centers in the country. We'll move away from the Women's League and talk about the Men's League. Of course, Nigeria Professional Football League and PFL match day 6 is getting our attention right now, starting with the Group A results, where you have Benin Insurance and Gombe United. That game ended good. Let's talk more about Benin Insurance. But then let's take a look at other results coming from the weekend, where you have Eyimba and Economy Warriors. That game ended in favor, of course, Eyimba. Chukwuemeka Obioma scored the 2 goals for the team to be able to get that victory over Economy Warriors. That's their 2nd win of the season. For Shooting Stars and Nasarawa United, it was Samuel Ayarinde. Samuel Ayarinde hasn't scored this season, but he scored 2 goals in 4 minutes, and they got that victory over Nasarawa United. The game between Akwa United and Remo Stars ended 3-1. Of course, Remo Stars got the red card 58th minute into the game, and they lost the game. Plateau United and Kwara United, that game ended in favor of Plateau United. The only goal that was scored was an own goal scored by Oriyomi Lawa in the 30th minute. That own goal that he scored against for his team. Then they lost all 3 points against Plateau United. We'll move over to Group B, where you have Sunshine Stars and Bayelsa United. It was Stephen Chukwude 4th minute goal, and of course that's how they lost that game against. That's how Bayelsa United lost the game against Sunshine Stars. Niger Tornadoes and Lobby Stars ended goalless, so these actually put Lobby Stars in a good stead, because right now they are top of the league. When you look at the league table, they're yet to lose a game, though they've had draws twice, 2 draws. Dakada and, of course, Abia Warriors. That game played on Saturday. Abia Warriors got the better side, ended 4-2. When the game started, 27th minute, when the first goal came, you'll be thinking that's all for it. But then second half, the other goals, 5 goals were scored in the second half for Wiki Tourists and Rangers. Wiki Tourists finally, they finally got a win this season. And again, of course, it was against the floundering Rangers. I believe Abubakar Ibrahim, everyone will be worshipping him, was able to get that goal for them. That's how they got their first win of the season. Doma United and Rivers United. Yes, I mean, Rivers United, not a good one. Musa Usman scored those 2 goals, one in first half, one in second half. Rivers United has scored first before Doma scored the 2 goals, courtesy of Musa Usman, who scored both goals. Now, let's focus on, 2 big games, because we have not too big, but then the fact that these 2 teams had to lose the unbeaten run. I'm talking about Benin Insurance, for instance. Benin Insurance, of course, we're thinking, they're facing Gombe United. Not a big deal. They should be able to get all 3 points. But surprisingly, that game ended goalless. Yeah. I mean, Gombe came with all their defensive powers, because no matter what Benin Insurance throw at them, not even Osaren Imade, who, the top scorer, he won the Player of the Month award. Also, Odige also won a Coach of the Month award. But then, with all the firepower Insurance could throw at Gombe, right there at the Samuel Gwemdia Stadium, that game ended goalless.
And I think that game really should make everybody look into what Gombe is doing. Gombe has been one of those teams who had kept their discipline this season. They don't have the kind of firepower like other teams have. But when it comes to scoring them, I think that is where you have a whole lot of work to do. So they've kept their discipline intact. And against Bendel Insurance, I think they went and even did more homework, saying this is a team that can score from every corner, from every angle. They are firing from every cylinder. And both deputy and also the man that is being deputized, talking about Imade, they made sure they couldn't get and all of that. And trust me, I think there is no result in the NPFL that will be as shocking as this. As much as I am singing the praise of Gombe United, this result is still very much surprising. I thought at the worst 1-0 would be good enough for Bendel, who are high-flying. But this is reality check. For Bendel, they understand, okay, there are teams that can withstand your firepower. For Gombe, I think this will spur them on to doing so great. But for the entire PFL, these are results that will remind you is very competitive. We love it for that.
But then the Benin Insurance and Lobby Stars are the only unbeaten sides in the league this season. Austin, a quick one on Benin Insurance. Of course, we're just thinking they're going to be flying. But right now, well, yeah, it's been a bit slow down. I mean, not so fast.
That's football for you, you know. Maybe they were a bit complacent. But remember, I've always been telling our viewers, Gombe United were so decent last season. And the moment Remo Stars beat them this bridge season, I knew that it will spark something in Gombe United. This is a fantastic result for them. I mean, Bendel Insurance, they've been on fire. And for them to go to the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium to, you know, hold Bendel Insurance to a goalless draw will definitely do something good to their league season. For Bendel Insurance now, it's some sort of reality check because they would have expected, you know, to beat Gombe United. Now that that didn't happen, it means they need to sit up. I said it at the game at El Kanemi Warriors was a very difficult one. They beat Remo Stars 3-0, and then they went to Maiduguri to play El Kanemi Warriors, and then coming back home to play Gombe United. You know, sometimes these things just tell. So that's it. Let's see how they can pick themselves back up. It's either going to be good for Gombe United or Bendel Insurance, but for both sides, I think that was a balanced result. But for me, match day 6, it has to be the prediction I made. I told Yemi that we're going to see an away win, and Abia Warriors was one team I mentioned that can go. They can go to Uyo to win, and 6-goal thriller we saw in that one against Dakada. So good one we're seeing in the Nigeria Premier Football League. We want to see more action. And then, you know, less of the drama that we're known for with the league. And let's just talk about the good side of the game, which is football. Yeah,
quick touch one on the game between Remo Stars and Aqua United. Aqua United didn't start well this season, losing their home game against Benin Insurance. But now they picked up against Remo Stars. You wouldn't believe that they could have won. But then Remo Stars got a player sent off in the 50th minute. And, of course, they had the opportunity to score and, you know, get all points, 3-1.
Yeah, Andokwe was sent off, you know, but that doesn't take anything out of the brilliant, you know, performance of Aqua United to record their 3rd win of the season. I said it when they lost to Bendel Insurance. Sometimes that's what you just need, you know, to get your season back on track. Same thing I just said with Gombe United. When they lost to Remo Stars at home, you know, it sparked out something in them. Bendel Insurance not beating Gombe can also, you know, be a wake-up call. Aqua United needed to really prove a point, you know, after that terrible start. And remember, Cecilia, except for that season when they won the league title, Aqua United is known for a very bad start. I don't know, they're just known for that, you know. But that game against Remo Stars, the way they started it, their approach, I knew they were going to do something different. And yes, you know, they did. Shout out to Remo Stars for providing, you know, live stream for people all over the world to watch it. I watched it right here in the United Kingdom. And if all clubs can be doing that, it will promote league football in Nigeria.
It will definitely. I also watched that of Shooting Stars, you know, IMC, you know, had a partnership with TNT. They were able to show that live. Because we wanted to see, Benin Insurance also streamlined. We wanted to see the pictures coming from Aqua United and Remo Stars, but we can't see that picture. But move on from here. And Austin, of course, you have to take over from this one, the financial fair play, Manchester City. I mean, it's a whole lot of talks because, I mean, Manchester City, irregularities concerning financial fair play, the fact that they had to hoard, so to speak, or maybe inflate the money they were you know, earning. And not just the sponsorship deals, the money for coaches, for players. I mean, there's a whole lot, 101 breaches, financial fair play. That's not good at all for Manchester City.
And they just need to find a way to get out of this because it can just get, right now it's ugly, it can get uglier. And we saw what happened with Juve when Juve was in this sort of situation. Right now, this is not even good for their league season. It's just that we know that the technical crew and the players, they are professionals, but there's no way they wouldn't be talking about this. And mentally, it can worry them. You know, the English Premier League it works with structures, and they've got governance in place. And they said that Manchester City, they've not been cooperating since the investigation started in December 2018. You know, when it's like you're being dodgy, you know, you're hiding things, then they will come at you, you know, and the commission can impose punishments ranging from a fine and points deduction to even expulsion from the Premier League when you are charged with over 100 breaches of financial rules following a 4-year investigation. Then these guys, they know what they're looking forward to. But Manchester City, they have said, look, they're surprised, you know, by the issuing of these alleged breaches by the Premier League rules. And then they've said that they welcome a review of this matter by an independent commission. They said, but please don't be partial. We put ourselves out there, and then we want to ensure that this thing is put to rest once and for all. You know, but the financial rules, they don't joke with it in this country, you know, particularly when you're not transparent, when you are shady. And Kende Idris, with everything happening with Manchester United, as big as it is, I was following this story, and we have to be careful because these things are under investigation, so we don't give it media trial. But I was taking it back home that these are the sort of things we need to put in place so that our football clubs can sit up.
Exactly. I think punishment, meting out rules the way it is stated in the rule book is a way to sanitize anything you're doing, anything whatsoever. You find out that in homes, you know, parents have a way of, you know, checkmating, curtailing the excesses of kids. So every family have got their rules and all. So I think this is the EPL, and we love it. Look at, they can get away from UEFA. Cecilia mentioned it, and I'm sure you alluded to that. Anything above 5 years, you know, you can't go back that far. UEFA won't take it and all of that. But for EPL, two things. Number one, you can go as far as 100 years, as long as you can get fact to back up, you know, today's, investigation. Then number two, EPL allows any source. UEFA, it must be an accredited source and all of that. EPL, even if it's a spy that comes and gives, what they need, then they can accept it and use it as one of the, things to judge. For Man City, in our heart of hearts, the way we think without not being any legal person, I think we all feel there is something shady about this team. Trust me, the kind of money and all of that. So this is happening now. Like you said, I think they should be rested once and for all. Please dig in deep and let's rest the whole ghost of this story.
Okay, that's it for Lord Panic. We'll definitely be defending Manchester City. We'll see what Lord can do in that regard. Quickly, the good news coming from Turkey. Yes, we understand that the Ghanaian forward, Christian Atsu, he's been pulled out from the rubble of the building. Yes, with injuries, but then he is, he overcome that particular very stage where he's really, under a very serious thing. But then the news is that he's been pulled out of the rubbles with the injuries in that particular earthquake. Remember what happened in Turkey and Syria, where you have about 5,434 people already dead, about 22,000 injured, about 800 rescued. But one of the rescue happens to be the Ghanaian forward, Christian Atsu, 31. He was rescued from the rubbles. Our heart goes out to all those actually facing a whole lot concerning, this earthquake in Turkey. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the program, Idris.
It's always lovely, and thank you for rounding up with a good news like the Atsu story.
Austin, yep.
Yeah, that's it, Cecilia. I will look forward to see what Manchester United can do tomorrow when they take on Leeds United. That's the show in London. Austin Okonakpan, in everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night rest.